Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dave, also known as Luvindemtrains. Well, today I'm back with another series with Dave Bennett of Train Installations. In this one, we were tasked with taking a layout apart. The gentleman is moving, and he has quite a large layout, very busy guy. So he asked us to take the layout apart and actually move it. Well, from what I see, the layout was not intended to be moved, and it definitely was not intended to be moved in its entirety, but that's what he wanted. Not only did he want the layout taken to his new location, but he also wanted an extension. So that's going to make a large layout even more large. So what we ended up doing is moving it to the new location. It took us about 3 days. Maybe 4 to actually get it into the new location and actually assemble it. The gentleman had a barn renovated, very nice structure for the layout as well as some of his other interests, and a lot of space for this layout. So anyway, we decided that the best way to incorporate this extension was to put it right in the center of the layout, which we did. So this project actually got elongated because with the new section, we have to, of course, blend it in with the rest of the layout. So the project ended up taking us about 4 to 5 months on and off. And of course, I did a lot of the scenery work. And so it was a very fun project. It was a learning experience. From what I see, the customer was very happy. This is one of those projects that I actually got to work on to the end of the project, which does not happen all the time. So as I tend to do, I probably babbled on a bit much. So let's go ahead and take this time to get to the video. So here I am again with Dave Bennett of Train Installations, and I call this one Harmon. Well, here we are on day 1 at the work site. Actually, the project was started the day before today, but I was unable to make it. So this is my first day. I believe that they just started packing up these models off of the shelving, which is where I'm going to continue today. As you can see here, the disassembly of the benchwork has begun. Though this layout was not meant to be broken up into pieces like this, a neat job is being done. As you look on the upper part of the layout, you can see the customer is utilizing some HO scale buildings to create a bit of forced perspective. It's a great way to utilize some of those wonderful HO scale buildings on an O scale layout. Here we move over to the creek area with the bridges and overpasses. I'm sure this area will become one of my favorite scenes. Very well done water effect with the resin. Just some wonderful scenery. It's also worth mentioning that this layout was featured in a past issue of O-Gauge Model Railroading magazine. There's Scott over there. Just some great work. If you look at the track, you notice there's no ballast. At the customer's wishes. There's Jamie over there giving us a bit of direction. Just kind of taking all of this in. You can see from the other side here where the disassembly has been started. Again, here's that water scene. There's Bob over there keeping things tidy, probably wondering why I'm just walking around with the camera. Here's a great view of the roundhouse, 3-stall roundhouse. lot of the shelves are empty. The customer has a rather extensive collection of models that have been packed up, but we still have more to go, and from what I understand, there's actually still more in the house. Closer view of the roundhouse and the turntable. Ice platform here. All right, so the goal today with this big layout is to get the bench work in the center here. We'll probably get some track laid, and there's a control panel through the door there that we have to put on the other side of the layout, and probably start some wiring. Doubt if we'll get to any scenery today, but he's got a whole list of things he wants us to do when we get to that point. So this should be fun. Kind of gave us some instructions here. Of what he wants us to do. So we just kind of got briefed on that. And we're gonna go ahead and start unloading some things out of the van. And I'll get back with you once we get started. So this layout is built in tables, so we had to tear it apart, cut it into sections, the individual tables, so now we're sealing those up. So here's kind of what we've done to get the process started. That's sculpt the mold with some kind of tannish paint and some fast and final across the road. And eventually we'll cover that up with ground foam to blend it right into the existing scenery. Probably can't see right in the back of the spot where the building's gonna go, that used to have a seam all through there that was covered up with ground foam and scenery products to blend it into the existing scenery. All through the coal section, same thing. That seam was there, so we just covered it up with some sculpt mold and put the coal over it. Most of that is actually real coal. There's Bob, our electrician and construction worker. Does a lot of woodwork for the layout, a little bit of everything. Just got a couple more guys around. I'm just trying to get some footage before they come in and it starts to get loud again. So yesterday we did the same thing here with the seams. Still some work to go as these basically essentially dioramas are put back in place. And up here the customer has forced perspective with HO buildings. You can kind of see over the tunnels there where I've started to seal that, and it needs ground foam, but that was a big opening increase from adding the diorama back in. It's a relatively simple process though, as long as you have the right colors. Looks like Jamie over there. Say hey, Jamie.
How's it going?
So we're just gonna continue with scenery work today. We're gonna get some track in and some wiring. Hopefully by the end of the day, we'll have a train running. That ultimately is the goal for us all and the customer. So I'm gonna shut this thing down and get back to work. So I've got this hillside roughed in. Need to do some more carving and adding to get that going, and then it's just a matter of seeing it getting up. Need to blend this foam into the existing scenery. And ultimately, this is the big monster. big task here. All this spray foam has to be molded and shaped, and it's still expanding. It'll probably be a little bit bigger than it is now tomorrow. Not much. We'll put some rock faces on here and just blend it in again to the existing scenery. So we've got our work cut out for us. Jamie working in the HO scale city. Bridges have been put in. Another section of track. I think this is the last section here, at least for this level. All right, we'll be back with more progress. Well, I'm finally getting to the job site today. Some technical difficulties getting here, but this was the mountain that was sprayed with foam yesterday over some pink foam, and someone has shaved it down. So I guess the next task is to blend it into scenery. Looks like Jamie probably was working on the HO town, getting that put back together. There's actually going to be some alterations to part of the road system in here. This is another view of the layout. There's a section to stand in when doing work over on that side, as well as to the town.
Right, well, heavier and, your old.
A lot of tools laying around because a lot of work is being done. This is actually our last day working here this week. All right, back on scene after a few weeks. This huge O-scale layout. From what I understand, we're going to continue with some wiring, putting some of the customers' buildings back out. And of course, we'll continue doing some scenery work. Got a lot done with this hillside here. Hopefully the customer will be prepared to tell us what he wants up here. On the top of it, I gotta finish carving that out and landscaping that. And then also here, if we have a building to go here yet. Some trees planted right along that hillside I did last time. And it looks like we've got the little town sitting over there, town scene, with the Woodland Scenics buildings. So we've got our work cut out for us. I think we're gonna try to get most of this done today. Oh, and ballasting track. That's a big one. The customer did not have ballast on his track at the former location, but has decided not only to put it down, but also to glue it. So that's what the plan is today. So I'm gonna shut this thing off and find out where the boss man wants me to start. Last bit of the hillside to cover up here. Blend it in with the existing work.
It's correct here,
Yeah.
but I have no idea what's going on.
Right. So now I would just measure from the floor.
So I put these grade crossings in from Woodland Scenics, they're the steel version. Right here, these two, and on the other side as well.